Hi everyone, it's Ainslie again. I just pulled over. I was thinking, I was just thinking about you guys and how just how some of you are probably looking at me thinking, this chick doesn't have what I've got. You know, what would she know? She looks like a single bloody traveller flouncing around in a bikini, you know, high on life, and there's no possible way that she has what I have. I know, like, when I was like really sick, and there's been ups and downs along the way, believe me, but particularly for those first few years, for me, don't get me wrong, it may not take you years, but it may, you know, so just best to be equipped for the journey, you know. But I guess I should tell you a little bit more about my personal story. So I came down with CFS when I was 28. I'm now 42. In that time, I was, you know, fortunate enough to fall in love twice, get married twice, even with the illness. And, you know, then experience a breakdown of those relationships, largely due to the illness. You know, not entirely. Relationships are complex and everything, but, you know, just all those added burdens, all the additional pressures that, you know, make it so much harder to manage your own health, but then how much the illness itself impacts those other areas of your life. So my first husband and I had a couple of miscarriages as well, and I know he like really dearly wanted to have kids. My second husband ended up, you know, developing a rapid secondary progressive multiple sclerosis, and even with the CFS and the gradual improvements that I'd made, I then had to become his full-time carer, which really rapidly meant that I needed to care for, you know, so many of his needs. You know, he went from being an independent man who was, you know, basically living independently, though not able to work anymore, to then not being able to drive, not being able to, you know, stand up without falling down, having regular falls, and then not being able to, you know, just shop for himself, cook for himself, sign his own name, you know, having to change, learn how to write, you know, become ambidextrous, all these, you know, we all go through so much. And anyway, without going into somebody else's story too much, just to let you know that it certainly hasn't been an easy ride, right? And I expect there's a lot of you out there at the moment with all of the extra pressures of the COVID situation, and all the change and adaptations associated with that, and all the extra needs in terms of having to look after your health. You know, I'm just sure there's so many of you that can relate. And I just want to get across that I can relate to you and your situation. And I totally understand that everyone's situation's different. We all face so many different pressures. You know, some people are single mums, some people are trying to continue to work and keep their family going, and, you know, hold down a marriage or a family situation. And some of them are really difficult. So, I wanted to share, I've just totally lost the thing I wanted to read you. So if you can just bear with me. I'm just looking back on my iPad, it changed pages on me. Yeah, So while I'm looking, just have a cup of tea. I don't know what's going on. Oh, here we go. I just feel sort of a real drive to try to get as much out to you guys as possible at the moment. Although I haven't really wanted to focus on CFS so much because I've been focusing on living as best as I can. But I do understand there's lots of people out there that are really, really needing support at the moment. So I just want to share things as they sort of come to mind. I'm not going to do the perfect videos and, I'm really not that technically great, being someone that's struggled with electrical hypersensitivity, and I'm just not really an IT person anyway. So here we go. I wrote this just, in CFS Awareness Month. For a few years now, I've just been wanting to put something out there to try to help people to gain awareness, understanding for themselves and also for the people around them to know what's going on. And so they have a bit of understanding, because we go through so much trying to work out what's going on for ourselves and then trying to convey it to others. And it's like, sometimes it's just like talking to a brick wall, and people just look at you like you're mad, or you're making it up, or you're a hypochondriac or whatever. And sometimes, just finding a way to connect. Sometimes it's easier hearing from somebody else, not someone that and they're like, are they just attention seeking, or what is going on here? Whew. So here we go. Just going to read an article that I wrote, just put up on Facebook and shared around in May for CFS Awareness Month. This might help you, and it might help you to convey to your family, to help them to sort of just gain a bit of awareness and understanding. I never know where to look. Do I look at myself, or do I look at the camera? But right now I'm just going to look at what I'm reading. I lost it again. I'm getting there. I'm not sure if I'm going to have to come back to this or not at this stage. Oh no, here it is. Okay, important announcement. Okay, so I meant to post this information yesterday, being the last day of May and Awareness Month, but I was too busy resting by the creek. So I really haven't gone much into what ME, CFS, that is myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue syndrome is, and all the multitude of debilitating symptoms that people endure, that people enduring these conditions suffer from. And in case you're wondering, fatigue is the least of it. One of the reasons for this is that it's taken me a tremendous amount of effort and many years for me to shift my focus away from them, the symptoms, and onto more life-giving things. It's important, however, to share this stuff to give people, family, friends, members of the community, allied healthcare professionals, etc., a picture of what it is actually like for the person going through these conditions, these disease states, chronic disease states. I personally developed chronic fatigue syndrome, myalgic encephalomyelitis, fibromyalgia, multiple chemical sensitivities, electrical hypersensitivities, and associated mood instability, limbic system impairment. At one stage I was diagnosed with severe, treatment-resistant depression, another time bipolar. But let's just say it's fair to say that our limbic system is in chaos as well as so many other systems affected by the central nervous system and the brain. So this all happened at the age of 28 after a succession of infections, overprescription of antibiotics, resulting in an impaired gut and immune function, and a quite serious motorcycle accident which caused trauma to my brain and nervous system, etc. I later found out that I fractured my back, but I wasn't aware at the time. Anyway, that's the short story. So symptoms included acute sensitivity to sensory stimuli, to the point where it caused severe and debilitating pain to the brain and nerves throughout the entire body. This included light, sound, smells, especially noxious chemicals, but at very extremely low levels that are imperceivable by healthy people, and add to that movement. So someone using hand gestures while talking caused pain, like serious physical pain in my brain, and cognitive dysfunction. So it didn't stop there. My brain and nervous system became overwhelmed by electricity and electrical appliances, phones, mobile phones, computers, TVs, electrical fields of all sorts. Extreme gut dysbiosis and leaky gut caused toxic overload in the body as everything putrefies and recirculates around the body, and the body stores toxicity away in tissues and organs, including the brain. This leads to dysfunctional liver detoxification pathways. And round this cycle goes, causing untold distress to the sufferer in the form of pain in muscles, joints, bones, brain, nerves. It causes sleep dysfunction, mitochondrial dysfunction, so the body's just not producing enough energy to maintain, not even like, just basically, people can get around, they can even be walking, but feel like they have zero energy in their bodies, like they're barely existing. Many people can't move, can't get out of bed, and they're encouraged to exercise when they can't lift their little finger or speak above a whisper. So where was I? Joints, bones, brains, nerves, sleep dysfunction, mitochondrial dysfunction, and a previously unimaginable state of sheer prolonged exhaustion that is not relieved by rest. In fact, refreshing rest becomes an elusive state, though many people are confined to bed and appear to be resting an awful lot. An inability to concentrate, to read or recall, trouble with speech, cardiac abnormalities, tachycardia, orthostatic intolerance, which means your body has a very difficult time adapting to being upright or laying down, or changes in, that vertical horizontal state, often like big drops in blood pressure, blood pooling in legs, etc. I say etc. a lot, just, love me anyway. Many people with CFS can feel symptoms within the body that most medical doctors have been trained to believe is actually impossible. So most people are told that there's nothing wrong with them, that it's all in their head, that they are anxious, depressed, neurotic, or hysterical many times before they are properly diagnosed. The crippling isolation brought about by the illness, the fact that no one can understand what you're going through, the untold losses, the guilt of being a burden on one's family and on society, the lack of understanding of the condition within the mainstream medical community, the expense of functional medicine, complementary medicine, and alternative healthcare practitioners' fees, largely because they're not subsidised by Medicare, and treatments that cannot be sustained over the long term, especially when this condition has rendered one bedridden, housebound, and unemployed for months, years, and sometimes decades. To say that this is frustrating and depressing is a gross understatement. Of course, this person is depressed. But these conditions are not to be mistaken for depression or clinical depression. The depression is usually a secondary diagnosis. Tragically, though, this condition sometimes results in suicide. I recall a doctor scratching his head after I had appealed to him for help with stubborn, almost total insomnia and a complete lack of motility in my gut. That is, I didn't sleep, I had very poor digestion and was unable to move my bowels. I just was in a state of inertia. This had been going on for something like 12 to 18 months at this stage. I was delirious with exhaustion. He looked at me and said, in a puzzling sort of way, you seem a little anxious. Anxious? I was so far beyond anxious, I was fighting to barely stay alive. I can't even begin to convey the horror of those first 6 years. Thankfully, I've come a long way in the last 14 years. It's not been an easy road by any stretch, but it has been part of my life, a life that I have learnt to fight for, to treasure, to preserve, and to celebrate. It's the only one I have. I love it, and I am tremendously grateful for it. So I'll share some links below about these conditions for those of you with a heart to learn and understand more, and to be a source of solace and strength to the people you may have in your life who are living through these conditions. You may not even be aware that someone that you know has CFS because they may look well. They may have a positive outlook toward life. They may have given up trying to share with people who either don't understand, can't understand, or are unwilling to try. If you have any questions for me personally, feel free to ask in the comments below, or just underneath this YouTube channel. Or shoot me a private message. I'm on Facebook, Ainslie Jenkins. Just losing my way here. Yeah, and if I'm able to answer them, I will, just from my own personal experience and the wisdom and knowledge that I've learnt along the way. If you have any specific requests for videos, that I might be able to help with, you're welcome to shoot them through as well. So wishing you all good health, much courage, love and light. And if you've taken the time to read this post, I thank you, or listen. And please feel free to share it if you feel inclined. Now, if you found this helpful, please like, share and subscribe. And if you want to hear more of this kind of stuff, just hit the notification bell, and that will sort of, prompt you to let you know when new videos come out. Sorry, I'm quite emotional myself. I want to encourage you guys that it gets better. That everyone's going through a really tough time at the moment, and people with CFS are really sensitive emotionally. So and sensitive to other people's emotions too, and they have to try really hard to keep themselves afloat. So, I just want to let you guys know, hang in there, do all you can for your own self-care, take it easy, have faith, work on all, I'm just going to offer up what I can, simple, little, helpful, affordable, actually actionable things that might give you some leverage, that you can sort of string these things together in your own pace to sort of, just get unstuck and on the road to recovery with a progressive recovery. I just want to do my best to help you, and so that's what I'm going to do. All right, bless you all. I hope you find this helpful. Again, if you could just like, share and subscribe, then that can kind of get the message out to more people. I'm assuming there's lots of people that need help, particularly at the moment. Okay, bless. Bye.